Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen of South African internet land. It's Pikey ZA with your weekly GeekNode podcast. This week I am flying solo. They saw fit to trust me with the reins completely, so Mr. Morris will not be joining us today. However, I am joined with my good friend SgtDangerCow from the British Sergeant's Mess, a fantastic Battlefield community. Mr. DangerCow, if you wouldn't mind saying just a few words to introduce yourself and just give us a little bit of a rundown on what the British Sergeant Mess is up to and what you guys do.
Yeah, hi, Puggy. Hello, everyone in South African internet land. And beyond, of course, because the borders are not restricted.
Absolutely.
Anymore. Yeah, well, British Sergeant's Mess is a gaming community that's actually celebrating its 15th year in existence. Is it this year, next year? Next year, I think.
Either one is good.
Yeah, no, it's next year. And we are just a bunch of inebriates who see fit to get together and shoot each other digitally every so often. And I think that's kind of, how it's best summed up.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, the shooting each other digitally, it's best to keep it that way.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely digitally. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, if we happen to play paintball and stuff together, which I think, given the corpulence of the large number of our members, is probably
It could get
unlikely.
ugly. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
How many are you up to now?
As with most communities, there's sort of admins, and then there's regulars or whatever, and the admins who are all sergeants. Hence why I'm Sergeant DangerCow. We all pay a sort of sub towards keeping the servers going and the website going and so on and so forth. And the regs are people who sort of enjoy the benefits of our community, but aren't necessarily you're not expected to be pay a part of it, pay to be a part of it. If you donate or whatever, that's great. But essentially, we're just kind of 60 odd, I reckon, sergeants and quite a few associated regs. So it's pretty good. It's a healthy community, certainly, and it's a very diverse community as well, because there are many sort of worlds of warships, world of tanks, a lot of armor going on in there, and Battlefield, obviously. And we are a gaming community. We're not specifically a Battlefield community.
No. I know. Yeah, that's just how we know each other from my time at Don't Revive Me, Bro. We've had a hell of a lot of great games at Battlefield 3 and quite a lot of games at Battlefield 4 back in the day. Before I threw my toys out the cot and uninstalled
it. Yeah, you and about 1,000 million other people. But
yeah. It is a sad fact that I think a lot of people just got to the point of saying enough's enough.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when it was launched, I think that was when they made their major sort of damage. And I think actually, it's interesting that I've noted that there are more people now playing Fallout 4 than there are playing Star Wars Battlefront. And I think that's quite an interesting thing.
I have a lot to say about that. I have to be honest, mate. I went to a launch event on Friday, very nicely put on by at MWeb. Fantastic event, really, really well done. Some cool cosplayers there. The people there from Rectron, which is one of our computer part suppliers over here, and lots of like games and things to do, not just consoles and PCs that you can play on, but they had like some fucking Dance Revolution thing. I didn't do it. It was like a Star Wars Cantina Dance Revolution or something. And then there was shooting down stormtroopers with a Nerf. Just little things like that.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I played 2 whole games of Battlefront. And I almost didn't play the second one because I just couldn't be bothered. I honestly...
Do you think that was beta, presumably, yeah?
No. This is now the launch title. So we've just... Friday was our launch night for Cape Town. And I avoided the beta because of Battlefield 4's beta being better than the launch, as we all experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, the beta played smoothly and beautifully, and then the release came out and it was a steaming pile of shit. So I avoided the beta because I didn't want to get myself amped up for it, because I am a huge Star Wars nerd. And then I played the release on Friday, and I have to be honest, I played one game, and I was actually I was looking for someone, instead of being sat there going, no, everyone piss off, I'm getting my time's worth. I was literally looking behind me going, yeah, does anyone want to take over? It was, I don't know, have you played?
I played the beta. I haven't played. I'm not going to play the full. I have to say, I decided once I played. I was pretty hyped for it. I think most people that play games are probably Star Wars fans, because it just fits into that bracket, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And I think obviously, if you've got something which is Star Wars, it's a license to print money. But I think there was a lot of people wanted it to be the old Battlefront, which it wasn't going to be. And I think there was a lot of, from what I've heard from various other sources, there was a lot of restriction placed on DICE by Lucasfilm / Disney, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And I think, they launched a game which for me was blatantly not even an attempt at doing a PC-based game. This was blatantly always a console port. There was no pretension otherwise.
I agree.
And I think just for me, the beta was very restricted anyway in terms of what you could play and all the rest of it. But I just found it all a bit kind of, I found it not. It's hard to say. It's never going to be Battlefield, and it was never going to be Battlefield. And I think that for me was one thing, because I wanted it to be Battlefield in
Star Wars
universe. Yeah. And that's another factor. Why aren't we playing any games in space? It's Star Wars, and there's no wars in the stars.
No, absolutely. It should be called Planet Small Pitched Battles.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think that's the thing, is and I've said this before in an article I wrote on Revive Me Bro, was the fact that I think that DICE have been pushing Battlefield more and more towards, and I dread to say this, towards COD, because I know that's going to inflame the internet, but it seems to me that there's now more push towards instant gratification, instant action, and all this rest of this sort of thing. And like the sort of the cooldown on the spawns that you get by default, I'm surprised those are still there, to be honest, because I think those
spawn immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Like in COD, you spawn immediately. So in Battlefield, and I remember when I transferred, because I come from COD to Battlefield, which is a bit of a thing, but I have now eschewed COD completely. I bought Blops 3, and I've played like 3 rounds of it and just went, nope, no, this is ridiculous. Yeah. But I think that's part of the problem. And there's a lot of stuff coming over, this skill matching thing, the no browser, all that sort of stuff. It sets my teeth on edge a little bit.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, though, one thing I will say for it, and actually this is something popped up in my Twitter feed, which reminded me quite simply, which was a bunch of screenshots by Birdie, which obviously they're always kind of fucking magnificent. Graphically, the game's impressive. I mean, it looks pretty.
Yeah, it does. But it looks pretty. I don't think you can argue with that, can you?
No, absolutely not. No, the Frostbite engine's a lovely engine. It looks great. Doesn't necessarily run the best, but you got to take your lumps. I mean, you can't expect something to look incredible and still run incredibly smoothly. Not unless it's, they've spent years and years in development, which quite frankly they obviously haven't. But it's so, I don't know. I'm not going to spend money on it. And if it goes on sale for $20 or, 150, 200 rand, because now we have Steam in our own currency these days, because progress. I'm not even going to spend that much on it, because by that time, I honestly think it'll be dead. I don't think it's got the last. I honestly don't think it's going to stick around. I think it's going to be another COD. I mean, not that COD. You end up shitloads of people play it for years and years and years, but you see a massive amount of people buy it, play it for maybe a month, and then kind of just put it down. And pick it up every now and then when you can't think of what else to play.
Do you think? I mean, you say that though, but the same could be said of Battlefield. Is they it launched at however many millions of pounds it was to buy it, and then you only had to get one mortgage to buy it sort of 3 months, 4 months later.
Absolutely.
You
gotta get that extra mortgage to pay for season pass and premiere.
Oh yeah, all that
and all that.
DLCs and these ceaseless microtransactions, which I just detest.
Yeah.
But I think there comes a point where you have to accept that EA are a business, whichever way you look at it, and you just have to kind of take that stuff on the chin.
Yeah, they're there to make money. They're not going to put something out and say, well, it would be nice if they did. It would be nice of them to say, you know what, we've made enough money off this for now.
Yeah.
Here's just a little something.
Yeah, I mean, can you call the community map that?
No, not from what I've seen. I've seen a lot of people saying you can clearly see it's community driven. And no.
Yeah, I don't know. I quite like it. I quite like the map. I think yes, it's probably one of those death by committee, too many cooks, etc. Situations. And I think, but in a way, DICE are in a no-win situation. If they want to try and give something back to the community, so they say to the community, "Hey guys, let's all do something together." And then when they finish it, the community goes, "Well, that's bollocks." And then you go, well, you guys helped design it. You can't then besmirch it because you don't like it, but you designed it.
But the thing, it's always going to happen though, especially, and sadly, the Battlefield community is an interesting one, shall we say? And a lot of them have come across onto the Battlefront platform. And there's a lot of angry people out there. I mean, when you're messing with a franchise like Battlefield and its players tied into a franchise like Star Wars and its fans, you're gonna piss someone off.
Yeah, what's that whole thing about? You can please some people all the time and about so on and so forth. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think there are people like Punisher made a good thing about it and saying it is Star Wars and I love it because it's Star Wars and I'm just going to lose myself in that, and he enjoyed the game, which is fine, and to be honest, for me, I think there's too much of PvP kind of, oh, you bought Star Wars, oh my god, I can't believe you bought Star Wars. And you go, well, look, if they want to go and play Star Wars and be Boba Fett or Luke or whatever, then more power to them. I'm not going to spend my money on it. I'm in the same boat as you. I probably will buy it later on, but I will see where the user numbers are before I do it. Because I think, by that point, you're probably talking Battlefield 5 hype will start building up, and then,
absolutely.
Everyone will go, ooh. And that's the same thing, isn't it? We all go, oh, I can't believe it's a rubbish, and then, oh, Battlefield 5, shiny.
Yeah.
It's a cycle that we all feed into.
I think they're starting to end the cycle, though. Like for me personally, and I don't know if this is maybe just because I don't know. I'm a bit older and, touch wood, a bit wiser. But I'm not buying into the hype anymore. There's some games that it's impossible for me to not buy into the hype. Fallout 4, the same as you said about what Pun said, that, yeah, okay, fine, the game may not be perfect, but it's Star Wars and I love Star Wars and I'm going to play the crap out of it. It's the same thing for me in Fallout. Yeah, okay, there's bugs, there's things going crazy all over the place, and, you shoot something and the physics engine loses its mind and it cartwheels off into the distance. But for me, it's Fallout. Like, I can take it. I don't mind. But the thing is, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I cannot force myself to play to get into the Battlefront side of things. And I've even thought to myself, is this just me wanting to be contrary? Is this just me wanting to, go against the grain and say, no, it's not a good game, don't buy it? And I don't think it is. Like, I don't have that need to stand out and do the opposite of what everyone else is. I honestly just, when I play it, I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I think the thing is, it's like you said earlier, it's a very pretty game, and they've obviously done a lot of design and all the rest of it, and they did that kind of sort of trailer within a trailer of them all wandering around Lucasfilm and taking photos of the Millennium Falcon and going around the forests of Endor and all that sort of stuff, and you go, well, it does look very nice, but ultimately I want to be able to enjoy the game and not feel that I've been robbed. And I think that's probably the core element of any of this is that you want to be able to buy a game and actually play the living crap out of it and enjoy it, and not feel that you're playing it because you want to get your value out of it.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Absolutely, I was about to say the same thing. Couldn't have put it better myself, mate. You don't want to. It's that grudge purchase where you buy it and you're like, yeah, I've only played a couple of hours. I don't really feel like playing it, but like if I only play a couple of hours, then I've wasted my money.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to play a game where I sit down and I go, yeah, it had a $60 price tag, and you know what? Well, okay, for me, and I'll be harping on about Fallout 4 for a long time to come. But Fallout 4, I've already put 100 hours into it. I've already got my money's worth, and I've loved every one of them.
Do you think part of that is by design of the game more than you? And I'm sure you do love the game, because I love playing it as well. But it is a necessity to put hours into the game to get anything out of it.
100%.
Whereas, and in Star Wars, I think it's more like in Battlefront, I think it's more like
pick up,
you're picking up. Yeah, pew pew and off you go. Pew pew and QQ and bye bye. And I think that's part of Fallout 4's attraction, is that you do have to commit to it. It's like a lot of these games you buy on mobiles, or like Candy Crush or whatever. You play the crap out of it, and then you suddenly realize that you need more lives, so you go onto the internet and buy more lives, and back to microtransactions. But it's that same thing of you've invested into it, and now you kind of feel that you want to carry on investing into it because you're enjoying it. And that, I think, with Fallout is the dual-edged sword of you've got to grind, but you don't mind grinding because it's enjoyable.
100%, yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, I have no issue with paying for DLC. I have no issue with paying for a premium service if I know that I'm going to get my money's worth out of it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to spend the money, but I'm not happy to spend the money for something that A, I don't know what it's going to be, and B, I don't know if it's going to be value. I mean, we're not just wallets these days. We should have enough of a thought process behind our purchasing power to say, no, I'm not going to buy a season pass yet. I'm going to wait and see what they're actually going to put into it. And then if it looks like it's going to be worthwhile, then I'll buy it. I mean, this whole thing with the Battlefront Season Pass is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, what's the 16 maps? 16 multiplayer maps are going to be in it, and it's like everyone knows you could have released those with the base game.
Yeah.
And you know what? Everyone would have gone, what? You're giving us like 25 maps to start off with? That's fucking amazing. People would have been so happy. But that's not going to help their bottom line, which is understandable, but does suck for us.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is that it is now getting to a point where people are more inclined to vote by their wallets. What do you think about betas being more open in terms of their content? Do you think that would have swayed you if you'd seen being able to play more of the maps and have more of the guns and so on and so forth?
See, I'm not 100% sure, because for me the map is completely irrelevant. Beyond the very basics of map design. If the map is well designed, I couldn't give a toss if I'm playing on Hoth or on Tatooine or whatever else. Like, yeah, okay, it's going to be cool to look up and see like a sand crawler or something in the distance, or whatever little things are put in there. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me. All I want is gameplay. That's my number one. I want the game to feel solid when I'm running. Like I honestly felt like I was running through a swamp when I played on Friday night. It just felt so slow, and it's like, okay, the action's over there, let's get there.
That was the Dagobah system back then.
Yeah, must have been. And there was no one coming in and force lifting me out of the damn swamp. Unfortunately, it just didn't feel right. And that, to be honest, if I'd felt like a stormtrooper. Like, I know that we constantly make jokes about the stormtroopers not being able to shoot anything, because, let's be honest, they very rarely do. Yeah. But when you're playing as a stormtrooper, you want to feel like a stormtrooper. I mean, there was a guy that was quoted when they released a new edition of Dungeons and Dragons, strangely enough, 5th edition, and he even said, like, when they introduced these things, these minions which had 1 hit point, so that basically you could just go in and smash them and kill like a whole load. Like, you could drop a fireball and kill like 5 or 6 of them and like feel awesome. And he said to give you that stormtrooper feel, like we use the term, although it's not necessary. Stormtroopers are named the way they are because of the basis in our real world military operations, and the stormtrooper is supposed to be fast, agile, deadly. I didn't feel any of those. I felt like this little nub running around like with stunted legs and maybe a bit of polio, hobbling along, and then pew pew, and someone shot me with the X3259 gun, which is different from the C9Q41 gun that I was using, which is another stupid thing.
I think that it became very apparent actually when I was playing the beta that those who had been playing it for a bit longer had got a bit more buff weapons and armor and whatever they would call the perks. I can't even remember what they called them now, cards or whatever. Okay. Stupid things. But anyway, it became very apparent that if you were a new and coming into the game, you were going to be absolutely owned because you didn't have any of the gear that they did, and they were jumping up and lobbing things, and tactical nukes were going off, and I don't know. I mean, I just sort of walked 3 steps.
And you're sat there with a little blaster laser gun.
Yeah, exactly. Pew, pew. And I'm stuck with pew pew pew. Yeah. And then you would shoot someone sort of 50 times. And then finally they get down to just a bit of health, and then they knock around the corner with their super mega gun and blast you out the sky.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah,
you felt like you had Peter Cushing at the other end going, "You may fire when ready."
Only when ready. Absolutely.
Ready.
Well, okay. So I'm going to try not to knock it anymore. It's not for me. I'm sure that there are lots of people out there who will absolutely do their nut and enjoy every minute of it. I won't be one of them, but I do hope that everyone who does pick it up doesn't suffer from that buyer's remorse and have that, I can't believe I spent this much money, it's not as good as I was hoping. You know what I'd like? Actually, one thing I'd like, I'd really like demos to come back.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing, isn't it? You used to get demos and they used to be a bit more involved. Maybe
to play the release, but a cut down version of the release, just to get a feel for it. Maybe even a time limited thing. Because we have this thing with Steam now, with the Steam refunds, where if you've played under 2 hours or whatever it is, you can get a full refund, but you still have to pay the money first.
But how can you tell in 2 hours whether Fallout 4 is for you?
No,
it takes
absolutely.
you 2 hours to get out the flipping.
Absolutely, you're like, well, I enjoyed these cutscenes immensely. I'd really like to see some more.
Very cinematic.
I will. Would you like to hear a very interesting fact about Fallout 4, which is something that I think is fantastic? Although I have been personally blamed for it, which I think is quite harsh because I don't personally use this particular service.
Go on.
But apparently, launch day of Fallout 4, Pornhub reported 10% less traffic. And that is true. That is legitimate fact. They came out and said, Fallout 4 launch day, what the fuck? You guys you were not touching yourselves anymore. It's not right. I was quite impressed with that. I was like, yeah, power to the geeks. Take your hand off your penis, put it on your mouse and keyboard. Touch your other joystick for a couple of minutes.
Vote with your zipper.
There we go. Yeah, there was a scary fact that when I saw that, I was just like, that is kind of amazing.
That is actually pretty good. That is pretty good. It reminds you of the thing I saw. I don't know. I'm probably, you might be able, I'll say this so you might be able to cut it out. I don't know. But there is a great thing on Facebook about, Anonymous, the hacker group.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Have you seen this thing? So the Anonymous posted on Facebook, we are going to take down ISIS's accounts and all this sort of stuff.
Right, yeah.
Some bloke put not the 72 virgins they were expecting.
That won't be cut out. That could definitely stay in, yeah. I like that. That's actually brilliant.
It's it's a fantastic sort of one-liner, and in one sweet, obviously on one side of it sort of belittles what it was a very, very dark moment in our social history, but in another ways it does show how we, I think as a people, humans are inclined to make fun of the things that they should fear, because it
Absolutely.
lessens that fear.
I'd agree with
Let's
you
not go down
100%
this dark line of discussing this, because it's not what we're here for.
We can have that conversation offline, because it's something I believe very, very strongly. Yeah, always laugh at the things that you fear and take the power away from them. But yeah, anyway, but whoever that guy was, you had that one liner, that little quip that's beautiful. I love it. It almost makes me want to go and reactivate my Facebook account just to go and find that.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. No. I won't. I'll stay away from it. There's not enough. Excuse me, not enough money on the planet to make me get back onto Facebook.
No, quite so.
And that is a whole other topic of discussion. Yeah. So apart from that, so yeah, you guys. So sorry, when I say you guys, British Sergeant's Mess. I know that you guys are currently running rather a large giveaway on your server.
Yeah,
more than one, because you are the most givingest son of a bitch on the internet. Apparently.
I've been called many things. That's probably not one of them. I don't know. I mean, I've in my life been very fortunate, so I like to try and pay that good fortune forwards, and other people can benefit from that, which I think is important as a human being, let alone anything else. But from the British Sergeant's Mess, or BSM point of view, we are setting out these giveaways. So this month, it's basically if you come on the server and I'm playing and you knife me, you get entered into the draw, and one person out of that list of people will get a GTX 980 Ti. So that's kind of our thing, and then we're going to do a monthly giveaway with a rank system. So if you come onto the server, the top sort of, I don't know, we haven't actually discussed a number yet of people that are ranked. Say, let's say it's the first 20 people that aren't sergeants, because it's important people know that the sergeant admins cannot win these things.
Absolutely, yeah.
The regulars can, and people are welcome to come and join the community and be regulars and all the rest of it, but sergeant admins cannot win. And yeah, so basically if you're in the top 20 ranked people, you get entered into the draw, and at the end of every month we list the names, hit a randomizer. I think I've said 3 times. So you randomize the same list 3 times. So you randomize it once, then you randomize it again and again. And then whoever's in first place, they're the person who wins. It's a pretty simple procedure. It's just really trying to encourage people to come together again as a community, because I think the community's become quite fractured over Battlefield 4 particularly. And I think there's a lot of, like yourself, who kind of just went, I can't deal with this rubbish anymore. And I think people have seen it grow and change, and I think the next patch will probably be the last one, and they've done a lot of good work. They've taken some elements from Hardline, which I'm not even going to get onto. Let's just tiptoe past that one.
Absolutely.
And, they've taken some good elements. They haven't taken all of the ones which I'd hoped they had, which, like running up behind a medic and being able to press E to get health rather than relying on people dropping them.
That would be good.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. And they've kind of pushed things more towards a PTFO agenda, which is what we as a community are about, is playing the objective, not sitting 20 miles away with a sniper rifle. It's all about pushing that forwards and bringing people in to enjoy each other's company and have a laugh and play with people that you're having a laugh. And that's what we were talking about earlier with Star Wars and all the rest of it. You want to play with people, you want to have a laugh and enjoy it. And I think that's kind of what we're trying to bring everyone back into doing. And I think it just fighting the slightly fractured nature of the community at the moment.
I think it's a very honourable and very worthwhile thing to be doing, because like you said, with me, I miss the guys from Don't Remind Me Bro. Guys, I love you. Because everyone just kind of fractured, we had Editor D and his brother just kind of, they went mad into Counter-Strike. Some of the guys went into Hardline, some of the guys went across to COD, and it was just this full-on just dispersal of everyone. And I mean, even though we'd still all pop into the same TeamSpeak, and you know, everyone would be sitting in different rooms, and you know, you wouldn't get to talk to the people that you used to speak to on almost a daily basis. Some of my favorite memories of Battlefield are, you know, when you're running around with 10 guys that you know on a server, and you're on the same TeamSpeak screaming utter cod shit at each other, and RPGs flying, and getting some teamwork in, but you know, just having a hell of a lot of fun. So
I think, yeah, absolutely.
It is commendable to want to bring that back.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think we are, you know, trying to do something. You know, we're trying to capture a lot of what we enjoyed, and I think, you know, I think Battlefield 4 probably was quite a pivotal moment in many a community's growth or career or whatever you want to call it, because a lot of people got really pissed off with the launch and just went, well, F you, DICE, you really dropped the ball here, and said, I'm not playing this again. A lot of people stuck with it. I'm one of those who stuck with it, and there are people in our community who didn't and don't care for it and don't want to play it anymore. And I think that's, you know, a lot of communities themselves have been internally fractured by that sort of that launch. But what's great is that since we've started doing these, you know, the giveaways and all this sort of thing, a lot more people have started coming back in who are sergeants in the community who haven't been playing Battlefield for a long time.
Oh, right.
And have come back to it because they've seen that other people now are playing it, and they want to come back and enjoy the banter. And, you know, I did a couple of videos on my channel, which was clowning about with BSM, and it was just the sergeants all in one channel just talking utter rubbish at each other, taking the piss, saying complete bollocks, but it was all about having fun and at the same time playing a game that brings you together. And I think that's what we're trying to encourage back into the sort of consciousness of our community and the wider Battlefield community.
Yeah, no, I hope it does. I really, really hope it pays off. I mean, I have been starting to think a little bit, because I have been seeing people saying that the state of Battlefield 4 at the moment is actually really good and it's playing nicely, and you know, I mean, it's 2 years later, so I mean, I have maybe got to put the bitterness aside and maybe reinstall once my South African internet can cope with 70 to 80 gigs I'd have to download with all the DLC and everything, which will be a bit painful.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's on my mind. Oh no, mate, it's still bad. We're so bad here. it makes me cry. Like all the abuse I get on Twitter about my shitty internet connection, and I've got I have the fastest internet connection I can have, ADSL at least, in the country. So there's a lot of people out there who
technology, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Fibers. That's like a whole new idea to us. We're like, wait, what? You mean the information's carried in light? How does this work?
This wizardry.
This madness. This magic. Yes, burn the witch. Hang on, she said she's not a witch. Yeah. So we're getting there. We've even got our own Netflix competitor. Well, not competitor, but yeah, we got something over here called Showmax, which I've subscribed to for a whopping 100 Rand a month. So that is about £5.
Wow.
But it doesn't have the full catalogue of, say, Netflix, but it has the benefit of Netflix is not officially supported in this country, so you have to connect via a VPN, and you have to go through, which, you know, it's fine for those of us who have a certain amount of technological know-how, especially when it comes to computing and VPNs and the like. But your average layperson is not going to be able to set up a VPN.
Oh, no, I'll take that up with you, because I'm an average layperson when it comes to things like this, and I have Netflix, which in Jersey is supported, surprisingly, actually, because we're quite closed off when it comes to stuff like that. But for example, you know, Sky Go, which is a normal service you can get on your phone. If you've got the internet via a router, you can use it. But if you're using 3G in Jersey, it won't let you do it. It considers you a foreign country. Yeah, exactly. So I went to on holiday to Tenerife, and I wanted to watch stuff on Netflix, because with kids, Netflix is an absolute boon. So you know, you just shove them down and say, "Give me 5 minutes. Here's Netflix," and then it came up and said, "Netflix is not supported in your country." I was like, "No."
That's a bit messed up.
And so I went online and I looked up, and there's a thing you can buy, like on an iPad or whatever, and you pay pay like £8 a month, and it's all
So
you just download it all, and it all comes integral into your iPad. So there's no, you have to think out the router and the DNS and all this sort of stuff. It's literally you just slide a button that says put VPN, and then you're
okay.
on.
Well, that's Okay, well, yeah, that way would be a lot easier with the iPad. I don't know how the VPN tools are for PC. I mean, I downloaded one the other day because I wanted to test the rumors that you could get access to Fallout 4 early by going through Melbourne. I didn't want to do it because that would be wrong.
Yes,
but I had to confirm whether or not it was true.
My legal advisors.
They have told me that this is the reason that
it's like you've got a yellow sticky note on your screen saying
pretty much
Fallout 4. Yeah.
No, I pretty much do. Yeah, but okay, yeah, it's always on my mind.
Yeah,
I can't get away from it. But anyway, before I go back into that. So there was a VPN tool that I downloaded and I used it. It was fairly self-explanatory, but I did notice that then some of my other things weren't working. So South African specific things weren't working because obviously now it was connecting via a VPN to Australia. So this is just a nice way that it's installed directly onto the smart TVs. So your Samsungs, as long as they're from year 2012 onwards, I think is their kind of cutoff point. It's just a simple firmware update and install the app and then click and you're done. I mean, they've got good stuff on there. They've got Vikings, The Walking Dead. No, not The Walking Dead yet. They've got Vikings, Game of Thrones. Do you like zombies?
I could take them or leave them. I'm not.
Then don't bother.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
I know it's all about zombies. I'm not that under a rock.
No. Have you heard of this thing, The Walking Dead? What's that all about? Have you seen Vikings?
I haven't, but I want to watch it. I want to because it looks quite historical. Is it good?
Yeah, well, it is. So now I've been trying. Actually, I did a bit of research on it. Now there was a guy. So the research that I did was fueled by an episode of QI where they were talking about a guy called. It was Ragnar Lothbrok's son, and his name was actually something Hairy Britches. Because that was what he was named, because his wife made him these trousers like out of goat skin or something to keep him warm, right. And like the name just kind of stuck, and he became one of the kings of the Vikings. But like the name Hairy Britches stuck with him. That was like just his name.
You got to feel sorry for those kings, don't you? That get,
I know.
Remember, like Eric the Red or something. You go,
absolutely.
Who was a guy? Ethelred the Unready.
Yes.
I mean, that sucks, doesn't it, to be named in history as Ethelred the Unready?
However, he may well be in Vikings.
Oh, really?
There's a guy in it called Ethelred who is the son of the King of Sussex, who I think further on is going to obviously take over his legal duties or his royal duties, and I have a funny feeling it'll be him. Now, the other thing is that Hairy Britches got killed by being pushed into a pit of snakes by the Britons, and that's already that's already been mentioned in Vikings, like this thing about a pit full of British poisonous snakes. Not that there's that many, but there are a few. And yeah, so I was like, okay. So I mean, there seems, and it is the History Channel, so you gotta hope that they've tied it in a bit to the historical, factual events of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the History Channel though can be accused at the moment of doing everything but history.
Absolutely, yeah. As I said that, I also realised that there's going to be some aliens are going to come flying.
Yeah,
at some
it's
point,
that guy with the hair.
There we go. Yes, absolutely.
As soon as he turns up, it's all gone to shit.
Yeah, it's like, well, we might as well stop watching now. He's just going to pop up. What happened? Where did these Vikings come from? And he just comes like, aliens. Yeah. So no, if you have the time, watch that. That is brilliant. There's some good movies coming out soon as well.
Yep.
I've been hearing talk about Tomb Raider movie.
Oh, that's a dangerous path to go down, isn't it?
Very, very dangerous. But if they pull it off,
who have they got? Have they said?
It's a guy, Roar Uthag. He was a director of some Norwegian disaster movie called The Wave. Mm-hmm. I have not seen it. That is all just that's the rumours that are floating around the geekosphere, I guess. But the big one for me that's coming up, I mean, the whole Tomb Raider movie could go either way, but the big one for me is Prometheus 2.
Oh.
Now, Prometheus was pretty lackluster, but they're getting Ridley Scott for
Oh.
Prometheus 2. Now, I'm a massive Aliens fan, so to get Ridley Scott back at the helm,
That's a
gotta
big
be,
deal.
I'm excited, yeah. See, and it's going to be Michael Fassbender's going to be back reprising his role from Prometheus 1 as the android, kind of the Bishop precursor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it should be really good.
It's always a bit weird, isn't it, though, when you watch prequels where the effects are so much better than the ones that they're meant to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Star Wars. I mean, the prequels for all their. Anyway,
Yeah.
the special effects were much better than anything what was in 3, 4. Sorry, 4, 5, and 6.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's quite interesting. I always feel that it's slightly a bit weird, but I don't know. I mean, I think I'm quite excited. I still haven't. You know, the thing is, when you got kids, as many kids as we do, your time is very limited. And so I invest more of my time in playing games because it means I can be in the house. I don't have to worry about, you know, if one of the kids kicks off and my wife can call me up and say, "Oi, can you come and sort them out," or whatever, or vice versa. And also,
your wife does the thing that I was terrified of as a kid. That is it. I am getting your father. No, Mom. No, I promise I'll be good.
Well, I think it's mainly because she's got a small child attached to her most of the time, so it's.
Oh, that
it's
way. Okay,
hard.
yes, of course, yes, because you've got the you're how old?
My
little girl.
boy.
As
No,
a boy,
no, I've got three
you've got the
daughters
girls, and now you got
yeah.
the boy.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
It's all
Well
a bit
done.
kind of fresh and new. Thank you. I
Are you
had
done
very
now,
little
by the
literally
way?
to do with it. Yes, emphatically. So yeah. No,
Is 4 enough?
I think it's a good number, isn't it? There's no middle child, so we avoid the middle child.
I suppose. There we go.
You know,
keep it even.
Yeah, I'm 39 now, and I think, you know, part of me is thinking, well, you know, when he's 10, I'm going to be 50-ish. And I'm going to be already pushing being able to run around with him and muck around like I do with my girls at the moment.
Yeah.
And so I don't, you know, I think both my wife and I just sat down and said, we're not really wanting to be sort of 60 years old and having a new kid. You know, it's just at some point you've got to live life for yourself again, don't you? And I think that's the one. It's, you know, you have that purple patch of sort of late teens to mid 20s. We got married quite late, and you know, our first kid was born when I was 30. So you know, we're kind of, you know, we're quite relaxed about the fact that we're going to be older parents, but we don't want to push the boat too far out, you know?
No, you don't want to end up... Yeah, there was a guy that I went to school with whose mom was... I don't even know how old, but old. And, like, they just couldn't relate to each other in the slightest. Mm-hmm. Like, you still want to be able to have... Yeah, you want to be able to have that relationship with them and do those fun things... Yeah, and not be like, I'd love to go and play football, but my hip's giving me jip. I'm gonna go sit down in my rocking chair. You bloody kids, get off my lawn. It's my lawn, Dad. Dad. Little bastard, whippersnappers. So I think, probably well done. Yeah, I think now's the time to stop.
Yeah.
I've stopped with one.
Well, that's probably sensible. You know?
I don't know, because like it's so nice when his friend comes around to play, because they just go off and play together, which is fantastic. Because I love playing with my son, and I'm probably one of the most immature people on the planet. And so when he's like, "Dad, can we go get some Pokemon cards?" I'm like, "Shit, yeah, we go get you some Pokemon cards." And then we come home, we come home with 2 sets, and I'm like, "Well, I'm just gonna take these cards and." I'll build a deck just so I can.
Edition.
What's that? Oh, you got the what's this? The Mega Evolution. Oh, that one would fit my deck quite well. Thank you, my boy.
It's good to share.
Yes, but
Here's
when his friends, it's here's a Magikarp. Knock yourself out. So when his friend comes around to play, it's fantastic because they go off and they play and they have a fantastic time. So I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm too late to have any more now. Like my Luke's 8, so. If I had another kid now, it would be like, you know,
well, my eldest is 8.
Little baby.
My eldest is 8.
Yeah, but you've got the steps in between.
Yeah, maybe.
You see, so you've got that. The oldest and the youngest may not have that closeness beyond the protection of the older one over the youngest, but the youngest one would be linked to the second youngest to second oldest. So you'd have that kind of gelling and tying them all together a bit more. Possibly.
Yeah, but I think at 8, they're probably better equipped to deal with the idea of having a new sibling, and also
they're not just going to be like, "Oh, what's that?
I know,
I don't like it."
Throw it out the pan. I think that, and also, they've got that thing of, they can be the big elder brother, sister, all that sort of stuff that you can kind of G them up with, and they're away at school a lot as well, aren't they? So
true.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. Each to their own. Much
Absolutely.
like Star Wars Battlefront.
Exactly, yes. Going back to games, yes. Listeners, have as many or as little children as you want.
Yes.
I'll love you anyway. On the gaming front, what else have you been playing other than your Battlefields and your Fallouts? Have you tried the new COD beyond the couple of hours that you didn't like?
I have tried it. I haven't tried it post-patch yet. Because I just find Fallout 4 so damned absorbing, and of course I'm playing Battlefield 4 because I want to be on the server so people can knife me for the event and all this sort of stuff. So there's a kind of a thing going on there, and then I've been trying to set up. I've done the Rocket League thing, and then I did.
Of course, yes, that was good actually. I watched the. I watched the final of that.
Yeah.
I watched them getting their asses handed to them. It was beautiful.
Do you know, it's so funny though, because the first games they played, they were actually
really crushing everyone.
Yeah, and they were doing really well. And the games those two teams played against each other, they were very evenly matched. It was one game apiece in the end. So I was surprised they got so badly beat.
But we enjoyed it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it was good watching. It was good watching. But it's enjoyable to do that sort of stuff. But I think it takes up a lot of time, and also I don't think people actually genuinely realise that it's just me kind of organising those things, and I don't mean that in that BSM aren't supporting it. I just mean it is I'm the one who's doing it. It's my duty in BSM, if you see what I mean. And I don't want to put the onus on other people because it's not fair. So when people say, have you sent the card out yet or whatever, you go, well, slow down, mate. I've got to have time to do it. But it's good fun when you're doing all those sorts of things, and because you can do it through BSM, it does make it much more accessible than if I was doing it, by myself, which I wouldn't want to do anyway, because I think when you're a part of a community, you have to support and recognise that community. Because I've got to be honest with you, right? And I'm getting dead serious with you now, mate.
Yes, there we go. Just take it down. It's good. It's good to get serious.
Big hello to all you truckers out there. I've been through some pretty tough times in the last few years, and it's BSM really helped me through that, and they supported me quite a lot, and so I think from that perspective, it would be extremely callous of me to just go, thanks guys, I'm off now, and I've never wanted to do that, and I'm 100% committed to them in that regard. But I think that's one of the most important things to me, is that they have never questioned who I am, my background, or anything like that. They've just accepted me in, and they've been really supportive. So it's nice to be able to kind of give something back in this respect and say, look, guys, I really want people to come and join the community. So let's get something going. But it does mean other games kind of taken a real backseat. Blocks I haven't played, as I say, since those first few hours. And I think also the thing is, I walked into it thinking, I'm quite good, I know what I'm doing, and I got absolutely shredded.
It's changed. It's changed a lot.
It was so fast, and I didn't know where people were, and then you get the inevitable people just sitting in one room and blatting you as soon as you turn the corner, and they're level 300 and you're level 2, and you sort of can't even compete with this stuff. No. And you go, hang on a minute, this is meant to be a matchmaking system whereby their skill and my skill are meant to be approximately the same, except for their rank is 700 higher than mine. So
seems a bit lopsided.
That's why I don't like those things, because they never work. And to be honest, the people that I was with before I was with BSM, guys called Angry Employees, we kind of broke as a community because of Modern Warfare not having dedicated servers, and we were a COD-based community, and Modern Warfare came along and said, no, we're not having dedicated servers. And we went, well, great, thanks very much. You just shafted us all completely.
Absolutely.
And I do actually worry about Battlefield going that same way. Because
to be honest, I wouldn't be that surprised if it did.
Yeah, and that would
unfortunately
massively. It would sadden me, because I think that's one of the greatest parts of Battlefield is the customization that you can have. And I've always said this in all of my videos and all my articles. I've always said customization is the key. The more that you can allow an individual to say, I want this and I want that and I want the other, but not break the game, crucially, obviously, I think the more successful a game is going to be. And I think it's so key to be able to say, even to be able to have your HUD color, whatever color you want, to be able to say the hit marker glows red instead of blue when you shoot someone in the head.
Small thing, but make it your own.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes a massive difference, because people finally think that actually I've got a bit of control. I'm not being dictated to outside the parameters which I expect to be dictated to. But sorry, I'm going off track here. So all other games is basically I play a lot of fancy Football Manager and all that sort of stuff.
I have. Yes, I remember watching some of the. I remember spending a lot of time with some of the Football Managers and watching a lot of stuff about it. And the amount of time you can sink into those.
Well, it's almost as bad as Fallout 4 or full stop. I mean, it is.
Wait. In the interest of not being a Fallout 4 specific podcast, other RPGs are available. Okay, they're like, but they're not as good. Like, I feel genuinely bad. Sword Coast Legends has hit release, and it's something I've been really excited about, and I haven't played it.
Well, do you know what? I was encouraged by certain members in BSM to get Guild Wars 2. And I have not played a single second of it. I looked at some videos online. I bought it thinking, yeah, that'd be great. I can do this. Bought it, looked at these videos, and saw the massive amount of array of things that you had to look at and do, and all the spells and all the buttons. And I went, well, I can't possibly. No. I have not got the time to dedicate to that sort of knowledge. And there's quite a few friends I've got in real life, so to speak, that say, you play World of Warcraft or whatever. And I said, I haven't got time for that nonsense.
Oh no, I can't do World of Warcraft. That's one I can't pull myself into. I tried it once, and I just couldn't get into the grind.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's just too much.
It is knowledge.
Well, it's like the same as you were saying for Blops 3. The map knowledge. Like, one of the things that I found is if I play on a map for the first time, I get absolutely demolished. Doesn't matter. I mean, I could be in the same lobby that I'd just been dominating, new map that I haven't played before, I'm done. Like, forget about it, because you have to be pre-aiming. Every corner you go around, you have to know where they're potentially going to be coming from. You have to know the routes. You have to know that now there's these wall runs that they can do around this way or that way, so you don't just run blindly past one of those and then someone pops up behind you and shoots you in the back of the skull. You have to keep all of that stuff. The amount of knowledge you have to keep track of in games these days, it's huge.
I think it's interesting. Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, actually, because I think one of the biggest things, and that's you're exactly the same as me, and you try and learn maps and you try and learn where people are going to be, and you start firing before you come around the corner, or you lob a grenade in a specific way that is going to clear out an area, and you lob it whether or not you think that there are people there. You just lob it because there's a chance that someone will be. And I think a lot of the people who play Battlefield who accuse will be people who don't understand that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that you have the same view as me, as you've got to do it, otherwise you're
at a huge disadvantage if you don't. I mean, it's not just like if you just run blindly around a corner and I'm coming around the corner the other way, but I'm pre-aiming, you're dead.
Yeah,
like you are not going to be able to snap. You're not going to be able to snap fire faster than I can pull the trigger on my side, and I'm already aiming directly at your chest or head. Like, exactly. You can jam your finger down on the fire and you can hip fire and spray and pray. Chances are you're gonna have to get very lucky to beat me on that. So map knowledge, weapon knowledge, especially with games where weapons spawn in, that kind of thing. I mean, if you think back to games of Unreal and all of that. I mean, map knowledge was key then. You had to have your route figured out. Like, you had to know, you're going here, you're going to get the super armor, you're going to do this, jump that way, get the rocket launcher, jump down, blow up a couple of people, pick up your flak launcher, and, you know, you had this entire route planned before the game had even started. And, like, yeah, I think it's becoming more and more and more of a thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. But it can be frustrating when you first start playing the games. Like, yeah, I get wrecked frequently in Blops because I think I played on 2 maps today. Cause I haven't had that much time to play it because I've been playing an RPG that shall remain nameless. You'll never guess what it is.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I couldn't possibly. But yeah, so I haven't played it anywhere near as much as I wanted to. But I played it today a bit. I put a couple of hours in, and I played 2 maps that I'd never played before, and it was just horrible. Like, I quit the game. It wasn't a rage quit, but it was like a depression quit. It was like this isn't fun anymore. I keep getting kills. You know,
but isn't that the thing? Isn't that the thing that we are very quick to quit when it's not fun anymore? Yeah. Which should tell you exactly what a bloody game should be.
Yeah, exactly. No, but the other thing, I saw it on Twitter today, was people bitching about. No, it wasn't on Twitter. It was actually in Blops. Okay, so one game, this guy dominates. Next game, and he's like, oh yeah, this is GG, easy, all this. And then the next map, he gets wrecked, and immediately he's in the chat, lag, fucking shit game, this. And I'm like, no, bud, you gotta be able to take the rough with the smooth. Like, yeah, okay, things are gonna go your way sometimes, but not always, mate.
And I think it's interesting, isn't it? You say that when you're playing a game which is predominantly, and Battlefield 4 is no different to that. It's an 18 game, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's 18 plus or whatever. And you get people who really, you know, these are people who are allowed to vote, for God's sakes, and
which is scary.
Yeah, exactly, or sit on a jury. And yet they can't, you know, these are the people who condemn you to life in prison, but they can't take a beating on a video game. And that scares me a little bit. And I actually I put out a video of my top 10 things I hate about Battlefield, and I think number 6 was people who say easy at the end of a game, because it's always people who are way down the bloody scoreboard who do it as well.
Yeah, we had that Squantoon and I were, in fact, myself, Squantoon, and I think Aaron were playing Rocket League yesterday, and halfway through, like, they scored a goal, and this guy like just starts throwing insults out in the chat, and I look at him and he's bottom. It's 3v3, and he's sitting bottom of his team, and I'm like, dude, like, you got a lot to say for someone who has done nothing in this game. Like, I've got more points than you, and I've got a ping of 250. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself, sir.
Yes, you sir, can soup some malarkey.
Absolutely. I'd slap you with my glove, you fiend. But yeah, unfortunately, you never get away from them. It's a sad reality.
Exactly.
But yeah. Anyway, right, mate, it's been fantastic sitting and having a chat with you about all things video game and otherwise. I think we're probably going to call it a day. We've done for a little dual podcast. We haven't done too badly. We've done a full hour there. I'm going to let you get back to your family. And
thank you. I told my wife I'd be there in 10 minutes, and it's now 1 hour later. So,
shit! Yeah, probably best that you do go back. Before we sign off, guys, just very quickly, there have been some changes to the site. We're now moving away from writing up the same shit news that everyone does. So we have got news aggregation in place, so that you can still get all of your news and everything that you want to get, but we won't be physically writing it because, let's be honest, it's dull and everyone does it. So the articles that we are writing are going to be a lot more opinion pieces, event coverage, and local news, obviously for the South African markets, things that do affect you. But yeah, so that's just a very quick thing. Thanks very much, SgtDangerCow, for coming on. I will be throwing links to the BSM server. I highly recommend going and playing with them if you get the chance. They're a fantastic group of guys. I've had some of the best games of Battlefield on their servers. So yeah, thanks very much, mate. I appreciate it.
Thanks, matey.
All right. Okay. Thanks very much, GeekNodians, and we will speak to you next week. Take care and keep gaming.